In this video, we're going to take a look at calculating distance on the coordinate plane. So first, we're going to start with a number line. And again, distance is always positive. So when I get my final answer, it is going to be a positive amount. So if you look here, my first dot is at 1/2. And if you see, my second dot is at 5. And I want to know the distance between these 2 points. Well, the distance is the jumps. And so from this to here is one jump and it's worth a half. And then I get from here to here is another jump, which is worth 1. From here to here, another jump, which is worth 1. Here to here, another jump, which is worth 1. From here to here, another jump, which is worth 1. And so I look at my total jumps and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And then I have this half. So these two are 4 and 1/2 units apart. And if you notice, if I take 5 minus 1/2, again, that gives me 4 and 1/2. Same as my distance here. Again, we have another number line, but if you notice, my points are on the negative side. So my one point here is at -4. My other point here is at -1 and 1/2. And again, I'm looking for the distance, so my answer is going to be a positive number. So again, to get from -1 and 1/2 to -2, that's a half. And then from here to here is 1. From here to here is 1. And so if you notice together, that is worth 2. And then I have my 1/2. So my distance is 2 and 1/2 units apart. Here I have another number line. But if you notice, this point is at -3. This point is at 1 and 1/2. So this one is a negative amount, and this one is a positive amount. So they're jumping over the 0. But again, I do the same exact thing. I'm just going to count my jumps. But again, remember, distance, always positive. So from here to here is one jump. Here to here is one jump. From here to here is one jump. And then to continue from 0, here to here is one jump. And then from here to here is a half a jump. And so here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 plus my 1/2. So the total is 4 and 1/2 units apart. And if you notice, from -3 to 0 is 3 units. And then from 0 to 1 and 1/2 is 1 and 1/2 units. And 3 plus 1 and 1/2 equals my 4 and 1/2, which is the same as this answer. So now let's move to the coordinate grid. I'm going to do the exact same thing. It's just that now I have a grid instead of a number line. But since I'm going from A down to B, I'm using my y-axis as my number line. And I will do the exact same thing. I'm going to count my jumps or count my spaces. So from here to here is one space. From here to here is another space. Here to here, another space. And I just keep doing that all the way down until I get to my next point. So here I am at point B. And now I'm just going to look and count up my jumps or my spaces. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so these 2 points are 12 units apart. Well, and we can also look at from A to the x-axis is 3 spots. And then if I look at from the x-axis down to B, that is 9 spots. And 3 plus 9 gives me 12. So let's take a look here. So this one is going this direction, so that means I'm using my x-axis as my number line. So again, I'm going to count my jumps. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these two are 5 units apart. And if you look from -3 to -8, from 3 to 8, since distance is positive, that's 5 spots away, which matches up with my units here. Now, this time it's taken away the number line, it's taken away the coordinate grid. So when I'm looking for the distance between 2 points, I want to look at my coordinates and see what is the same and what is different between the two. So in this case, the threes or the x-axis are the same. So I don't need either one of those. I'm going to look at the two that are different, which is the 5 and the 6. And so the distance between 5 and 6 is 1 unit, because 6 minus 5 is 1. Same thing here. My -2 and my -2 are the same things, and so I do not need those two. I'm going to look at the two that are different, which is my x-axis. So I've got -3 and I have -16. So I want to know how far -16 and -3 are from one another. If I take 16 minus 3, that gives me 13. So they are 13 units apart. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. If you notice, my x-axis, -3 and -3 are the same, so I do not need those. I'm going to take a look at the -1 and the 7. But if you notice in this one, the signs for the numbers are different. So this one is a negative and this one is a positive. So if I want to know how far it is from -1 to 7, well, I know from -1 to get to 0 is 1 unit. And I know to get from 0 to 7 is 7 units. So then I take 1 plus 7 gives me 8. So the distance here is 8 units. What coordinate is located 5 units to the left of point -1, -3? So I'm going left, which is this direction. And when I move left or right, I am dealing with the x-axis. So that means my x-axis is going to change and my y-axis is going to stay the same. So if I want to go 5 units to the left, well, if I'm starting at -1, 5 units would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. So my new point would be -6, -3. What coordinate is located 2 units above point -1, -3? Well, above means I'm going this direction. And when I travel up and down like this, that means I'm dealing with the y-axis. So that means my y-axis is going to change and my x-axis is going to stay the same. And so if I'm here at -3 and I want to go 2 units above -3, so this would give me 1 unit, and this would give me another unit, which would be my 2, and this would be -4, or excuse me, -2, and this would be -1. And so my new point would be -1, -1. Let's take a look at this problem here. It says plot and label the given points, complete the shape by identifying and plotting the unknown point, connect the points to form the shape, and calculate the area, or excuse me, calculate the perimeter and the area of the given shape. So first, let's plot our points. So A is at -5, -3, which would be right here. B, I don't know. C is at -3, 2, which would be right here. And D is at -5, 2, which would be right here. And so now I need to find the coordinates of B. Well, if I start connecting my lines here, I see that my shape begins to look kind of like a rectangle if I need another point. So if I draw my line here and here, that would put point B right here, which would be over to -3 and down to -3. So coordinates for point B would be -3, -3. If I want to find the perimeter of the rectangle, and the perimeter is like building a fence, so I'm going to look at the outside and how far that is. Well, if I start here, I go 1, 2, so this side is 2, and on a rectangle, that means this side is 2. And then if I count here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this side is 5, that means this side is 5. And so if I take 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5, that gives me a total of 14 units. So my perimeter is 14 units. Now my area is the amount of the space on the inside. So I want to look at how much is in here. And so to find the area of a rectangle, I take A equals length times width. Well, my length, we'll say, is 2 here. So I'm going to take 2 times my width, which is here, and that's 5. And so 2 times 5 is 10. So this would be 10 units. And since I'm dealing with area, it is units squared. So I put a little 2, kind of like an exponent, above my units.